Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban, are their daughters really at the center of a secret war? That's what fans are whispering after the shocking revelations about their custody battle. On the surface, their divorce seemed smooth, almost amicable. Public appearances were polite, social media was calm, but behind closed doors, sources reveal a very different story, one filled with tension, strategy, and high stakes over their teenage daughters, Sunday and Faith. Custody battles are always delicate, but when two A-list stars are involved, the stakes multiply. Nicole Kidman, an award-winning actress known for her grace and professionalism, reportedly went all in to secure her children's future. Keith Urban, equally famous and adored by fans, initially aimed for equal parenting time. What started as a seemingly routine discussion soon spiraled into what insiders are calling a stressful fight. Imagine negotiating every weekend, every holiday, and every school break, while under the constant gaze of the public eye. Nicole and Keith weren't just making decisions for themselves, they were crafting the lives of two teenage girls who have grown up in the spotlight. Sunday, now 17, and Faith, 15, aren't just names on a schedule. They're the reason the talks got intense. Sources claim that custody was the sticking point in negotiations, the one issue that could make or break the entire divorce settlement. The custody agreement that finally emerged surprised many. Nicole will have her daughters for 306 days a year, while Keith will see them only 59 days, every other weekend, from Saturday morning to Sunday night. That's an enormous disparity, and it has fans wondering, how did it get to this point? What led to such a lopsided schedule, and why did Keith initially push for equal time but ultimately settle for far less? Adding to the intrigue, insiders say the discussions were far from straightforward. There were rumors of late-night phone calls, private meetings, and delicate negotiations, all aimed at balancing fairness with what each parent believed was best for their children. It wasn't just about numbers or days on a calendar. This was about routines, stability, and who would be the primary anchor in Sunday and Faith's lives as they entered their teen years. The public may only see red carpet smiles and Instagram posts, but sources suggest the reality was tense. Every decision, from school schedules to extracurricular activities, became a topic of debate. The amicable front that Nicole and Keith presented to the world might have masked months of negotiation, disagreement, and even emotional stress. And while fans might assume celebrity divorces are easy due to wealth and resources, this battle shows that fame doesn't make parenting disputes any simpler. So what's the full story behind this secret custody fight? How did Nicole secure such a significant advantage in the arrangement? And how did Keith respond to the outcome? Over the next sections, we'll dive deeper into each stage of the custody battle, revealing the drama, the surprising details, and what this all means for Sunday, Faith, and their famous parents. The truth might shock you, and some twists are far from what the public expects. While the world thought Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban were calmly splitting their lives apart, the reality was far from serene. Insiders revealed that the custody battle over their daughters, Sunday and Faith, became the most intense part of their divorce. Nicole reportedly didn't just sit back and let things happen, she fought strategically, determined to secure what she felt was best for her children. And Keith, he initially pushed for equal parenting time, which set the stage for a tense standoff between two very determined parents. Sources say the disagreement wasn't just about weekends or holidays. Every detail of the girls' lives was on the table: school calendars, extracurricular activities, social events, and even family traditions. For Keith, equal time seemed fair on paper, but for Nicole, stability and continuity appeared to be the priority. That difference in approach quickly turned negotiations into a high-stakes chess game, with each side carefully planning their moves. According to insiders, conversations that seemed casual on the surface were often laced with strategy and subtle tension. What makes this custody story even more fascinating is the contrast between public appearances and private reality. Fans only saw a couple parting on good terms, but behind closed doors, sources describe moments of disagreement and frustration. Keith reportedly felt strongly that he should have more days with Sunday and Faith, while Nicole wanted to ensure the girls maintained a consistent routine during their crucial teen years. The clash of priorities meant that the custody talks weren't simple discussions, they were emotionally charged negotiations, lasting months and requiring careful mediation. Adding another layer, the girls themselves are teenagers, and that factor played a critical role. Sunday, at 17, is approaching adulthood, and Faith, 15, is at a sensitive age where stability and support are essential. Sources suggest Nicole considered the girls' emotional well-being in every step, which may have strengthened her position in court or mediation. It wasn't just about the numbers on a calendar, it was about creating an environment where the girls could thrive despite the divorce. Even though the settlement ultimately appears amicable to outsiders, insiders emphasize that this secret fight was intense. Keith's initial push for equal custody didn't disappear overnight, it was part of a negotiation that required compromise, patience, and careful planning. Some close to the family say that the process involved numerous discussions, adjustments, and a focus on ensuring the girls' lives remained as normal as possible amid the upheaval. The tension between public perception and private reality adds another twist to the story. While fans admired the polite front, it seems the exes were navigating a delicate balance of fairness, legal strategy, and personal conviction. Every move was calculated, every decision weighed, and the stakes couldn't have been higher, not just legally, but emotionally. So, how did these tense negotiations lead to the final arrangement? How did Nicole secure 306 days of custody, and why did Keith ultimately accept far fewer? The next section dives into the surprising final custody agreement, revealing details that even fans who followed the divorce closely may not have expected. What happened next shocked many, and it's where the real story begins to unfold. The moment the final custody agreement was signed, the scale of Nicole Kidman's win became clear, and it surprised many who had followed the divorce from afar. According to sources, Nicole will have Sunday and Faith for 306 days of the year, while Keith Urban will see his daughters only 59 days, every other weekend, from Saturday morning to Sunday night. That's not just a custody arrangement, it's a clear statement about who will be the primary anchor in the girls' lives moving forward. For fans, the numbers might seem shocking. Keith, a devoted father, had reportedly hoped for a much more balanced schedule. His initial push for equal parenting time reflected a desire to remain closely involved in Sunday and Faith's lives. But during negotiations, it became clear that Nicole's focus on stability, routine, and continuity outweighed his ambitions. Sources describe it as a carefully calculated decision, on Nicole's part, designed to ensure the girls' lives were as grounded and consistent as possible despite the divorce. What makes this agreement even more intriguing is the disparity. 306 days versus 59 days is not just a legal arrangement, it's a reflection of trust, priorities, and strategy. Nicole's team reportedly emphasized that the girls thrived under her guidance, with school schedules, extracurriculars, and daily routines all flowing seamlessly under her care. Keith's shorter schedule wasn't a loss of love or involvement, but a compromise meant to ensure that the girls' lives remained uninterrupted during this critical period of adolescence. Insiders hint that the decision wasn't easy for either parent. Keith is said to have initially resisted, hoping for a more equitable split, but eventually agreed after careful discussion and mediation. While the numbers are striking, sources suggest the agreement allows Keith meaningful quality time with the girls, but it's clear Nicole will be the parent they see day to day, the one who navigates homework, school events, and the small but important details of teenage life. This custody arrangement also underscores how serious and thoughtful Nicole was during the negotiations. Reports suggest that she considered not just the legal aspects, but the emotional and psychological needs of her daughters. Sunday, stepping into her late teens, and Faith, entering those formative mid-teen years, require consistency, something Nicole prioritized above all else. Fans who assume celebrity divorces are always glamorous or conflict-free might be surprised by the amount of careful planning and emotional labor involved. The final agreement isn't just a document, it's the culmination of a high-stakes negotiation where emotions, strategy, and love for the children all intersected. It also offers a window into the private dynamics between Nicole and Keith, a relationship that, while ending in divorce, still requires delicate coordination for the sake of their daughters. The arrangement may look one-sided to some, but sources emphasize that both parents sought the girls' best interests in different ways, leading to the compromise that ultimately shaped the 360-59-day split. But the story doesn't end with numbers. Behind this agreement lies a tangled web of tension, strategy, and unseen drama. How did the exes navigate those final discussions? What did each parent have to give up or fight for in order to reach this settlement? In the next section, we'll uncover why custody became such a sticking point, exploring the emotional and strategic layers that made this battle so compelling, and why it captured the attention of fans worldwide. While the final custody numbers may seem straightforward, Nicole Kidman with 306 days, Keith Urban with 59, the path to that agreement was anything but simple. Insiders reveal that custody quickly became the sticking point in the divorce, the issue that tested both parents' patience, strategy, and emotional resilience. It wasn't just a legal negotiation, it was a clash of priorities, parenting philosophies, and visions for the daughter's future. Keith reportedly entered discussions expecting a more balanced arrangement. After all, he's been a hands-on father for years, attending school events, music lessons, and every little milestone with Sunday and Faith. For him, equal time wasn't about competition, it was about maintaining closeness and continuing the bond he had carefully nurtured. But Nicole approached the issue from a different angle. Her priority wasn't just quantity of time, it was stability, consistency, and ensuring that the girls had a predictable routine during their critical teen years. This fundamental difference in priorities created tension behind closed doors. Sources say there were long discussions over weekends, school calendars, and even minor day-to-day details. Every argument had an emotional undercurrent. Nicole wanted the girls to have a home base that remained uninterrupted, while Keith wanted flexibility and to remain actively involved. Imagine negotiating not just custody, but the entire rhythm of two teenage lives. It's no wonder this became the central challenge of the divorce. Adding to the complexity, the girls themselves were teenagers navigating school pressures, social lives, and early adulthood milestones. Sunday, at 17, was on the brink of adulthood, while Faith, 15, was entering one of the most formative phases of her teenage years. Both parents reportedly recognized that the stakes weren't just about fairness, they were about emotional well-being, personal growth, and mental health. Nicole's team, insiders say, emphasized that a consistent schedule was critical, which made Keith's push for equal time a negotiation that couldn't be resolved overnight. Even subtle details became hot topics. Sources suggest that discussions ranged from weekend plans and family vacations to school routines and friendships. Every small decision carried weight, and neither parent wanted to compromise their daughter's stability. The intense scrutiny from the public only added pressure, forcing both Nicole and Keith to carefully weigh each step. Ultimately, custody became the sticking point, because it wasn't just about days on a calendar, it represented the core of parental influence, the ongoing shaping of Sunday and Faith's teenage years. The tension was as much emotional as it was logistical. Nicole's determination to create a secure, structured environment collided with Keith's desire to maintain a close, flexible presence, and it was this collision that defined the most challenging phase of their divorce. So, while the final agreement looks neat on paper, insiders reveal that every day of those 306 custody days was fought for with strategy and care. Keith's compromise didn't come easily, and Nicole's victory reflects not only legal skill but careful attention to her daughter's needs. But the drama behind these decisions didn't stop there. Behind the scenes, emotions ran high, and fans would be shocked to know the intensity of the negotiations. In the next section, we'll explore the behind-the-scenes drama that shaped these pivotal moments, revealing details the public never saw and secrets that made this custody battle so unforgettable. While the custody numbers and negotiations paint a picture of strategy and careful planning, the real drama of Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban's divorce unfolded behind closed doors, far from the public eye. Insiders reveal that the amicable front presented on red carpets and in interviews barely scratched the surface. Behind the scenes, emotions, tensions, and delicate maneuvering defined every step of the custody battle. Sources say the process was not just about legal strategy but also about navigating deeply personal emotions. Both Nicole and Keith had built years of family life together, and ending that while maintaining a sense of stability for Sunday and Faith was far from easy. Friends and close contacts report moments of frustration, late-night conversations, and tense private meetings where each parent had to balance personal feelings with the needs of their daughters. The negotiations reportedly stretched on for months, with every decision analyzed for its impact on the girls' emotional well-being. One insider describes the process as high-stakes and emotionally charged. Nicole was focused on creating a stable, predictable environment for the girls, ensuring that school schedules, extracurricular activities, and family routines would remain intact. Keith, meanwhile, wanted to stay fully involved in daily life and maintain a bond that went beyond weekends. This tug-of-war required patience, compromise, and, according to sources, careful mediation to prevent conflicts from spilling into public view. Even seemingly small details became points of discussion. From which parent would attend parent-teacher conferences to who would handle weekend plans and travel arrangements, every element mattered. There were reports of subtle disagreements over how holidays and special occasions would be divided, showing that even celebrity divorces, with all their resources, are not immune to the complexity of family dynamics. Friends close to the couple say that both Nicole and Keith were committed to protecting their daughters from unnecessary stress, but the path to that goal was anything but smooth. Adding to the drama was the pressure of public perception. Every step, every decision, had the potential to be scrutinized by fans, the media, and social media followers. Nicole and Keith were reportedly very conscious of maintaining appearances while negotiating intensely behind the scenes. Even their closest friends were sometimes left out of the loop, highlighting just how private and delicate these discussions were. The intensity of the negotiations, combined with the emotional stakes, made the custody battle far more complex than most outsiders could imagine. Sources suggest that the process included difficult compromises, late-night discussions, and moments of tension where both parents had to step back and reassess what truly mattered, the well-being of Sunday and Faith. By the time the final custody arrangement was reached, both Nicole and Keith had navigated a web of emotion, strategy, and public scrutiny. While the world sees the outcome, 306 days with Nicole, 59 with Keith, few realize the drama, negotiation, and unseen sacrifices that made that agreement possible. But the story doesn't stop there. The next section dives into how the public perception contrasted with the reality, revealing shocking surprises and moments fans never expected, further highlighting the complexity of this high-profile custody battle. To the outside world, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban's divorce seemed surprisingly smooth. Social media posts were polite, public appearances were cordial, and interviews carefully avoided any hint of tension. Fans saw a picture of two celebrities separating with grace, quietly, handling life's changes, but insiders say this perception couldn't be further from reality. Behind closed doors, the custody battle over Sunday and Faith was intense, emotional, and far more complicated than the public could ever guess.
One source explains that the contrast between public appearances and private negotiations was striking. On the surface, Nicole and Keith were cooperative co-parents. Behind the scenes, every detail of their daughters' lives was carefully debated. From school schedules to weekend activities, even the smallest decisions carried emotional weight. What seemed like a calm arrangement to fans was actually the product of months of careful negotiation, strategy, and compromise. The disparity between perception and reality highlights just how delicate high-profile divorces can be. Celebrities live under constant scrutiny, which means every word, every gesture, every post on social media is analyzed for signs of drama or conflict. Nicole and Keith reportedly made a conscious effort to shield Sunday and Faith from public stress, keeping disputes private and maintaining an appearance of harmony. But sources reveal that private meetings and discussions were far more intense than fans could ever imagine. Even friends close to the family were sometimes surprised by the depth of the negotiations. It wasn't just a matter of dividing time, it was about creating a living, breathing schedule that would prioritize the girls' well-being. Every weekend, every holiday, every event had to be thoughtfully assigned, with both parents weighing the emotional impact on their daughters. The final arrangement, Nicole with 306 days and Keith with 59, may appear one-sided at first glance, but it reflects careful deliberation and a focus on stability rather than convenience. Rumors and speculation often misrepresent these dynamics, but sources clarify that the goal for both Nicole and Keith was always the same: the best possible upbringing for Sunday and Faith. While the public may have assumed the divorce was smooth because there were no scandals splashed across headlines, the truth was far more nuanced. Emotional negotiations, legal strategy, and a deep concern for their daughter's development all played critical roles in shaping the final agreement. This discrepancy between perception and reality also underscores the challenges of being a high-profile parent. Fans see curated moments, smiles at events, family photos, and social media updates, but they rarely see the emotional labor and careful negotiation behind the scenes. Nicole and Keith had to manage not only their own feelings but also the expectations of the public, the media, and their daughters. It's a delicate balancing act that required patience, tact, and often, unseen compromise. Ultimately, the story of Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban's custody battle isn't just about numbers on a calendar. It's about the hidden complexity, the tension behind the polite smiles, and the careful effort to protect the children from unnecessary stress. What the public saw as calm and amicable was actually the product of strategy, dedication, and emotional intelligence. And while the final agreement may seem surprising to many, understanding the reality behind the scenes reveals why this custody battle captured so much attention, and why it's still being discussed years later. As the dust settles on Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban's high-profile divorce, one thing is clear: this custody battle was far more than a legal negotiation. It was a deeply personal journey, filled with emotion, strategy, and unseen struggles. For Nicole, securing 306 days of custody wasn't just a victory on paper, it was a statement of care, foresight, and commitment to the well-being of Sunday and Faith during some of the most formative years of their lives. For Keith, the 59 days he spends with his daughters every year may seem limited, but sources emphasize that his role remains meaningful, focused, and concentrated, showing that quality can sometimes outweigh quantity. What makes this story so compelling is the stark contrast between what the public saw and what really happened behind the scenes. Fans witnessed a polite, amicable divorce, with two stars presenting a calm, cooperative front. But in reality, months of negotiation, tense discussions, and careful planning ensured that the girls' lives remained stable and structured despite the emotional complexity of the split. Nicole and Keith had to navigate a delicate balance, protecting their daughters, maintaining their public image, and still making difficult personal compromises. The custody battle also shines a light on the human side of fame. While millions of fans focus on glamorous red carpet appearances or media headlines, this story reminds us that celebrities face the same emotional and parental challenges as anyone else, amplified by scrutiny, public speculation, and intense media attention. The stakes were real. The happiness, routines, and emotional security of two teenage girls hung in the balance. Every decision carried weight, every compromise mattered, and every late-night discussion shaped the lives of Sunday and Faith in profound ways. And yet, despite the tension and complexity, there's a surprising note of resilience and respect in how Nicole and Keith handled the situation. They managed to reach an agreement that prioritizes their daughter's stability while maintaining civility between themselves, a rare feat in high-profile divorces. This outcome demonstrates that even in the most stressful, emotional circumstances, careful negotiation and focus on what truly matters, the children, can lead to a resolution that, while imperfect, is in the best interest of the family. Still, questions linger. How will this lopsided schedule affect Sunday and Faith's relationship with their parents over time? Will Keith find ways to maximize the limited time he has with the girls? How will Nicole balance the demands of her career with the responsibilities of primary custody? The answers aren't simple, and only time will reveal the long-term impact of these decisions. In the end, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban's story is a reminder that even behind the glitz and glamour of Hollywood, the stakes of parenthood remain deeply human. Custody battles, emotional negotiations, and unseen sacrifices are part of life, and in this case, they reveal the lengths parents will go to protect their children. For fans and outsiders, it's a lesson in patience, strategy, and care. For Sunday and Faith, it's a story that will shape their teenage years in profound ways. And for Nicole and Keith, it's a chapter that proves that love, concern, and parental dedication can survive even the most challenging separations. The real question now is this: with such a structured arrangement, how will the next few years unfold for the girls? What stories will emerge as they grow older, and how will the choices made behind closed doors shape their future? One thing is certain: the public has only seen a glimpse of this story, and the chapters to come may hold surprises even more compelling than those we've already uncovered.